Hello, everyone. Okay, I think we are live. Let me quickly check how we are doing, live or not. Then we'll start with it. So, mic testing. And there we go. I can see that we are live. Okay. So, welcome everyone, and thank you for participating in this important and vital discussion on International Women's Day. International Women's Day is a global event and celebrated every year on March 8th. The theme for this year's International Women's Day is Cracking the Code, which highlights the need to break down the barriers and create a more inclusive environment for the for the women around us. And do you think it's easy to implement just cracking the code? And by the way, what do we actually mean by cracking the code here? Why is it so important to us? And what did we face so far in our career, in our journey? And what more to come? How did we respond? What did we do? What are the gaps? So, in this session of today, we have strong community women with me on this panel, and we will try to answer all your questions. But remember, the goal is to create a safe and supportive environment. So, for supportive space where women can trust each other and can share the experiences and insights. So, we can work together with each other for empowerment and help women growing together. So we have in the panel um, Bhavisha, we have Richa, we have Abhilasha, and we have Vidya. So welcome all of you in the session. And one thing I would like to request all the audience here to make this session even more interactive with all your questions and experiences. So by the time we start gearing up for the introductions and the panel and the discussions going forward, I want you all to answer me. What does the cracking the code means to you? What actually you mean and you feel with this particular statement, cracking the code and going for the gender equality in the roles, in the leaderships, in the STEM, in every aspects of the career and life going ahead. So by the time I'm going to kick off the discussions, please start putting your thoughts in the chat. Let's make it a more interactive, more workable, safe space so we can trust each other and going ahead, we can support even more better way. Okay. So let's start with Abhilasha. Abhilasha, I would like to, okay, before starting the questions, would you like to introduce yourself, say something for yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Pooja. And I think before we start off, I would really like to congratulate you. I think with everything that's on your plate, bringing this forum together is so much more. So I think I don't know how many hours you have in a day, but I really appreciate you for everything you do. And this is really important for a society like ours. So many congratulations on being able to achieve this. My name is Abhilasha, and the only thing I want to mention here is that I'm really passionate about diversity and inclusion. I am from India and coming to a country like Australia that's very diverse and very, cosmopolitan. It's really important that we are able to contribute and make a stand in the society. So for me, diversity and inclusion and working for the women is one of the most important initiatives that I'm working on right now. So that's me.
Thank you, Abhilasha. Before starting with the questions, actually, let me talk to each one of you, and maybe if you would like to go ahead with a quick introduction, and then we'll start with the questions and the experience sharing journey forward. So, Richa, welcome.
Thank you, Pooja. And again, I would again congratulate you for bringing that forum together and bringing all the women together to share our ideas and empower the journey of women in, either in life, career, or in any other aspects. So, hey everyone, myself, Richa Lalit. I'm mom of two young kids and I'm working in a government sector. the main idea for me to join this forum was because when I started my journey, I'm in technology and data world, I knew how dominated that world is with men. So in along all my journey, a lot of women leaders have actually encouraged me, empowered me, supported me all throughout my journey. So now I'm at a stage where if I can contribute to other women in that aspect, or any help, any support, anything needed in the data technology world or any other area where I can support, would be very happy to do that. So I thought of this forum and it clicked like an opportunity where I can learn and I can also contribute. Thank you.
That's so nice of you. Thank you, Richa, for accepting to be here and ready to share your journey with all of us. It's a privilege for all of us to
My
have you in
pleasure.
this forum. Vidya, welcome.
Thanks, Pooja. So, just a quick word about myself. I'm Vidya. I work in the IT industry, and suffice to say that uh, up to the last few years, it was a male-dominated industry, and now I see more and more women joining the industry. So, I mean, it's a good time, and it's quite an opportune moment that you've organized this talk, Pooja, in the sense like for me cracking the code means there's absolutely no barriers to what women can do, and I guess we go on from there.
Thank you, Vidya. Thank you so much. Bhavisha.
Hi, Pooja. Thank you so much for inviting me on this forum and alongside all these beautiful women. My name is Bhavisha Malde. I am a mother of two beautiful boys. I work in a corporate sector with the government business, and I'm also running a weight loss program. It's more of a motivational program for women so that they can take care of themselves. It all started from my personal journey, and that is my way of giving back to the community. So today's session, cracking the code, I believe is just finding a way out with all the problems that women across the world are dealing with.
Yeah, true, true. Thank you, Bhavisha. And for the audience and for all the panelists, my eyes are moving here and there on the screen because I have three windows on the screen. One for the panelists, second for the comments, and third for the questions that I'm getting in the different ways as a one-to-one questions. So please excuse me if I'm not able to make a bit of eye contact with you panelists over there, but it is just because I'm managing different screens at the moment. Okay, so let's start with you, Abhilasha, and I would like to ask you from your personal experience. Can you share your experience when you have had to navigate from a complex situation in your career as a woman, and what strategies did you use to overcome it?
That's a very good question, Pooja. So, I guess the most challenging, the reason why a situation is challenging is because of its outlook, the way people perceive women, and I'm sure everybody's aware of our unconscious bias that is just a game our brain plays. So it's not that the environment is or the situation is complex. It's just that the way the people look at you because you're a woman, and there are certain expectations from the society or from fellow colleagues of fitting in the box because you're a woman. That is what makes the whole environment tricky. So I think first of all, I ensure that when I'm in an environment, I ensure that I express that I am equal to everyone. There is no, in my eyes, there is no gender bias as such. So that makes me more confident and allows me to be doing or making a call which my male colleague would and should have taken. So that itself makes me confident and makes me ensure that I am taking the right call. And then again, going back to the expectations of the society, I ensure that I am able to communicate why and what my decision is and why I'm taking that decision that way. There is a lot of transparency, and people are able to understand the logic behind the decision. So that's how I navigate my situations.
Yeah. Okay. And what does the what does the phrase cracking the code means to you? How you find that relevant in your career, in your journey? What are your thoughts on actually the perception that you have for your for this phrase by you said?
I think it's cracking the code is really a very broad term, and it depends on way and how you use it.
Yeah.
Now, um, in reference to the United Nations Women International Day, cracking the code, and I had the privilege of attending the lunch session that was organized in Sydney. I think the motive or the message that they were trying to convey is about that we are so heavily dependent on internet and we're so heavily dependent on technology. But the way we're moving, we are advancing in technology, but in terms of gender bias, we are still way behind. So
Yeah.
cracking the code here means that, or at least my understanding is that um, we want to, we want to achieve a future where everything is equal.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, and I can talk a little bit more about it, but the fact that AI is also learning a bias. It's something that is really, really, cautious for us, and we have to take a call here because you just Google the internet and look for stuff like if you ask for, just Google a situation where you just ask for a boardroom, and you will see that the images that come up are men, especially male, white male men in suits sitting in a boardroom. But that's not what we want to see, and that's not what we want our children to see.
Yeah.
You look Google for a nurse, and you will see a pretty woman in a nurse costume, and that's not a right reflection for our children. Someone who's a male and wants to, pursue a career in the care industry.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is about. The AI is learning a bias, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we change it, we challenge it, and we ensure that we are calling it out. So
Yeah.
AI understands that we are, understands that this bias is not that actually holds well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, definitely. I understand, and this is such a pity. It creates a bit of sad moment in my heart as I hear from the women out there. At the same time, the metaphors that you have given specifically for the AI, it's so disheartening to see what are where we are going ahead in our future. What do we want to give our next generation? Is it the bias that we want to pass on? So I'm with you on that one, but definitely would like to hear more from our viewers, from our audience, as what and how we can break the bias out there. So thank you so much for your kicking off with the right answers, with the right perspective, and setting the ground straight. In between, while we continue ahead, we have Purnima Dee here. So welcome, Dee.
Thank
I hope
you. I'm sorry I couldn't get in. I'm in India right now, so having my own technical issues, but I'm glad I could join.
that's fine. All good. I'm glad as well that you are here finally. Whatever was the technical glitch is over now, and we are happy to have you here. And thank you for being in this forum, especially after when you are on holidays back in India. That's so special for us and for all the women out here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Absolutely.
Okay. Um, Abhilasha, thank you for your answers. But as I asked, like sharing your personal experiences that you have to navigate in the complex situations we were talking about. Richa, do you have anything to add on in this one? Because we all have our own experiences and we need to know different strategies what you face, how did you navigate it through, what is your perceptive to the cracking the code word to you?
Sure, Pooja. I have a very interesting experience in my career with that because I started my experience with consulting here. And I remember those times that I joined a startup firm where there were 15 men, and I was the single woman joining that firm. And it was on financial planning and those kind of new solutions which were coming in the market. So when I joined and we were going to the different clients, they were like, "Oh my God, do women also work in this area?" And do
Yeah.
you know how the stuff works? That kind of expression, that kind of impressions when you get when you go out in the market.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are like, and that's a very like kind of a shame on our society, that people think, or people used to think, that if a man, a person who is working, who is in a good leadership role, good consulting role, he's handsome, you straight away think that, oh, this person is so handsome and so good at work. Those terms come together. But
Mm.
with women, it's quite a difficult thing to digest, for especially for men or for the society. If women is good looking, can she do the work? Can she do the professional work as well? And that's a kind of stigma, or that's a kind of notion I wanted to change amongst people, that if the same thing holds true for men, why can't you do the same notion for women? That's where I decided myself, Pooja, that it's just not the society notion that we have to break. Even we have to upskill ourselves.
Yes.
So whatever at that time, the demand for training, I need to train myself. I need to upskill myself in certain technologies, do learning. I did my best to learn that part. That at that, like I'm telling you 10 years backstory, when we used to go to client, those clients used to say that we only need Richa for this particular implementation for our consulting firm. And
Yeah.
that's where that notion got changed, and that startup firm actually ended up hiring 6 different women, because the director or the co-founders were also on the notion of new tools and technology. Women are always so busy in the work, they can't upskill themselves in a ever changing world. This is so different for them. But that's where we started noticing that things are changing. So I think, in my opinion, keeping self belief in yourself, in addition to that, keep upskilling yourself whatever time you're getting, and that networking, especially, that's what, when I said in my introduction, whole of my career, lots of women leaders were always there who supported me in that journey. Because
Yeah.
I remember when I working with Westpac on that one, people like leaders who were working in that, who were women, they were so supportive and so empowered me in that journey, that I can never forget.
Mm.
So self belief, upskilling, learning all together, and networking is the key, how I navigated my way.
Okay, that's good. And I totally understand the pain that was there 15, 15 years ago when you faced that situation, when you had to answer those unexpected questions on working in the finance industry and how you navigated through it. It's a incredible job and definitely a good part of your journey that we need to learn a lot from you. Keep sharing your light, and definitely um, self believing is the key of cracking the code in this context. I would say I am 100% on agree on this one. Okay, thank you. And Vidya, how does this cracking the code sounds to you? What do you think out of it in your career, in your journey?
Okay. So as I said, cracking the code to me means that women are virtually unstoppable. Given that we've come a long way from the time I started my careers, and I'm talking about more than 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And at that time, when from personal experience, from all the women, absolutely dedicated, brilliant, qualified women who worked with me, all of these women actually put their career on the back burner because they had families to look after, they had in-laws, husband, kids, and those things sort of took a priority, and they were sort of, yeah, let me balance my life and my career, home life and career. Let me put my career on the back foot. As long as I'm earning, it's fine.
Yeah.
And we've come a long way from that. And I mean, I'm really happy to see women in very senior positions, and especially where I work now. We have a policy of almost favoring women over men, kind of thing, not in a biased way, but in a good way. And so it's very
Empowering way.
heartening to see that. It's very heartening to see that. And as a mother of two growing girls, one in university and one almost finishing school, My advice to them on cracking the code is, look, I mean, it's, you can reach as far as you want to. It's, you put a stop where you want to, and it's just up to you. You go as far as you can, is my your take on cracking the code.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. Um, Purnimadi, going to you. You have handled big organizations as a people's leader over there, and I would really like to take your opinion on one of the big challenge that I have been hearing and seeing and maybe facing by myself as well. One of the significant challenge that women face is the pay gap. According to the World Economic Forum as well, women get 63% of what a man get. Like just the ratio is that much of different. And this gap is even wider for women of color, women of race, women of course, with the different cultures and backgrounds also plays a big role in this one. So, what strategies have you found to be effective in negotiating salaries, and especially as a woman, how do you see that pay discrepancies going and where it is leading towards?
Um, okay, so first of all, on the outset, I have to say that the organization that I was head of people and culture, we were an equal employment opportunity company, and men and women were paid exactly the same. So there
Okay,
was no difference. There was no difference in pay gap,
okay,
be it a corporate role or be it a blue collar role. Men and women got paid the same.
hmm,
But having said that, what I have seen is that when we put out ads for jobs, the number of applications that we get back are more from men, less from women.
hmm,
Okay,
okay,
so it is all about the pool from where you select your candidates. And
hmm,
for me, as a woman, I do not want someone to give me a job because I'm a woman. I want
yeah,
someone to give me a job because I'm the best candidate, because I'm the
hmm,
best for the job, not because we have to create some sort of a gender parity in the organization. So, oh, we have hired 3 men, so let's now hire a woman, even though we have another male candidate who probably is better experienced and and can do a better job from than that woman.
yeah,
So I, as head of people and culture, was completely against it. It was always picking the best candidate.
yeah,
So when we look at the market and the pool and the kind of candidates that we get, sometimes it does happen that we get better male candidates than female candidates. Now, I'll give an example. Like in the company that I was in, if you looked at our
hmm,
marketing team was very, very female heavy.
yeah,
It had all female candidates. It was led by a woman, and it had a team that was filled with women.
okay,
But on the other side, when you look at another team, like let's say IT or engineering, we
hmm,
had more men than women.
okay,
So the thing is that it depends on where a woman is applying for jobs, what kind of skills that she is,
hmm,
upskilling herself with, and what kind of job she's applying for. So
yeah,
it's very easy for us to, when we sit on the other side, and I'm sitting on this side of the table because I'm sitting on the hiring side of the table, and I'm giving my point of view from the hiring point of view,
yeah,
that when we get applications, we have to go with the application that best fits the role. We
hmm,
can't go with an application saying that, oh, like I said before, oh, we've hired a few men, so now let's start hiring a few women. you know
yeah,
and the other thing too is that when it comes to roles where you probably have to put in a few extra hours, you may have
hmm,
to work a little bit of extra on a particular day, but you may get some hours off on a different day. The
yeah,
flexibility that comes in between a man and a woman, men are more flexible than women
yeah,
when it comes to flexible hours. And that again is that when a woman starts climbing the ladder and she wants to get to the top, there are a few compromises that she will have to make. And I think I
hmm,
did write it in one of the articles that I wrote as well. We put too much pressure on ourselves. We want a perfect job, we want a perfect family, we want everything perfect. We are living
yeah,
in an imperfect world, and we are expecting perfection at every stage or in everything that we do.
yeah,
So it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay if you are not perfect in everything that you do. So I think sometimes I find that a woman is her own enemy, because
yeah,
she sets so many, like she sets really high standards for herself. But look at what a man does. He like whatever he does well, and he doesn't worry if the other part of his life is not as perfect as one part of his life. But
Hmm.
with a woman, she wants to be a perfect CEO, she wants to be the perfect wife, she wants to be the perfect mother, she wants to be the perfect everything. And I don't think we have superwomen in this world. And if people feel that calling themselves a superwoman is like a badge of honor, I as a woman, and at least three people in this panel know me really well. I'm very strong, and I stand by my values, um, and I don't think that I'm a superwoman myself. Because there are certain things you do very well, certain things you don't do very well. So when we
Yeah.
talk about the pay gaps that you were talking about, you need to pick and choose where you want to work. You want to
Hmm.
pick and choose the jobs that you want to do. If you find that you are too good for the job that you're doing and you're not getting paid for it, move on, go
Yeah.
elsewhere. People do that all the time. You cannot stick in your comfort zone because you're happy where you're doing, because it ticks all your boxes. You can go home on time, you can do this and you can do that, and then say, I'm not getting paid well.
Yeah.
And the thing
Yeah.
is that you have to make yourself or put yourself in a position where the company finds that you are completely indispensable.
Hmm.
Then you ask them for whatever they want and they will give it to you. This
Yeah.
has happened with me as well. We had a lady who was absolutely indispensable. So
Okay.
when during the COVID, when the market was was very dry, she asked us for a pay rise, which was quite
Hmm.
a hefty one, and we told
Hmm.
her, I said, yeah, we'll give it to you, because we knew we couldn't do it without her.
Yeah.
So we have to make ourselves that important to that company that we should be able to dictate terms, and we have to
Yeah.
make ourselves indispensable. And for that, we may have to make a few sacrifices along the way. And yeah, that's my take on it. I can
Yeah.
keep talking about it forever because I've got
No.
so many stories to tell, but I know that I can't take up all the time.
No, that's a good start. And honestly, that's a real good point that being a perfectionist nature or by soul that we feel all the time, we cannot expect to be no gaps or no gender differences, at least not no pay gap. At least gender differences is a separate topic, but yeah, no pay gap at least that I can see. But yeah, thank you for that one. That's a very different perspective, and totally I agree with that one as well. But let's move on to Bhavisha. Bhavisha, what's your take on that one as a pay gap? Because I know you come from a different side of background, and also you come on the you are probably on the other side as well, where you are giving the interviews or you have given recently. What is your take on that one as a woman? You are mute, Bhavisha. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So Pooja, I think what Purnimaji mentioned was beautiful, that we are not perfect. So first of all, that is a fact. We need to accept it. We need to upskill ourselves, make ourselves valuable and worthy. And once you know what your worth is, I think nobody can stop you. So just a simple message: upskill yourself, know your worth. If one place doesn't work for you, be brave enough and find a better place.
Yeah. Okay. That's good, Bhavisha. Thank you so much. We have in between couple of questions on this perfectionism topic. First of all, Purnima ji, this is for you. Is being a perfectionist related to our cultural roots?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's got anything to do with culture. Women by nature like to do everything very well. That's the way we are made.
That's a
Are we
feminine
from the
nature.
eastern part or the western part of the world? Because I work with a lot of women who are not Indians, who are white Australians, and they have the same problems. Like they want to be good mothers, they want to be there when the kids come back home, they want to attend every PTA. So no, it's nothing to do with culture, it's to do with women. It's
Yeah.
just that.
Yeah, that's true. But again, there is a question that again, wouldn't that mean stretching ourselves because the role that we play at home is an indispensable one too?
If that's for me, I would say no. It's not indispensable. I think when we start, you always say marriage is It's got two wheels. It's got a husband and a wife. So we like to think we're indispensable. We like to boost our ego by saying that, oh, the house is not going to run if I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
But no, that's not true. Like, I'm a working woman,
Yeah.
and my house can run without me. Like, if I'm running late, it's how you set standards in your own home. It's how you set expectations in your own home. It's
Yeah.
how you bring your kids and your husband into being a part of that, instead of, like, this is what I said when we say perfectionist. Like, your husband will be happy to load the dishwasher, but you say, but that's not the way it's done. This is the way it's done. So you'll take out all the utensils and you want to put it back the way you like it to be done.
Yeah, I
So
think you
these are
got to
little things that,
appreciate. You got to appreciate men's also for their hard work,
absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's where women
absolutely,
sometimes don't realize.
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's
Appreciate as well as delegate as well, Bhavisha. I think that's what we don't do. If, like as Purnima ji said, if we
Hmm.
delegate our work, things do work, and that's what luckily I have experimented and implemented in my home since last 7 years. I used to think that I do the work differently, in a perfect way or in a good way. But as soon as I started delegating my work, now everyone knows how to do things in a certain way. And if I'm, out for any, conference, any party, any drinks, home runs exactly the same way as it runs if I'm home.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a matter of delegation and just
Yeah,
trusting
I
that
think
it's
Yeah, and
complete.
it's yeah, and I think it's also important to realize that if some things don't get done at home, it's okay. Like,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
always tomorrow. It's not like, if the dishwasher doesn't get loaded one night, it's perfectly
Absolutely.
all right. Or
Yeah.
if the
I
house is
think
messy.
No.
these are conversations that we need to have with our partners, with our husbands, so that
Right.
there's more clarity. There are alternatives. There are suggestions, solutions. That is how we need to come up with the conversation. Now, 20 to 25 years back, men were not part of the family. Like very few men were engaged in small aspect of housework. Majority of their work was outside. Now to change that and get them to do little bit around the house, I think it is a skill required to talk, to communicate, express your ideas, express your love, not your anger. And when they try to do it, appreciate that. It may not be perfect like what you do, but at least they tried. And I think that is a very fine line where people,
And I
where
think
women.
that's the code we have to crack.
Crack,
That's
Yes.
the
yeah,
code
that's
we
what
Exactly.
have
I
to
said.
crack.
That's the good
Exactly.
definition for cracking the code. True.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely. Absolutely. If,
I
like,
would like to
if the bed is not done, if the rubbish is not picked, doesn't matter. It's not the
Doesn't
end of the
matter.
world. It
Exactly.
Yes.
doesn't matter.
And I
Yes.
think
It's
the
not
same
the
goes to
world.
men's also in the family. If your wife is working hard outside and she comes home, she's exhausted, sitting down, just relaxing or chilling out for 10, 15 minutes, just don't nag at her, appreciate her. Just
Yeah.
let her relax. So it goes both the ways, not just like women appreciate, but also men need to appreciate. So it's something that we have to train the society or just,
That's
yeah, I think
exactly.
today's
Yeah.
session should open up a lot of barriers, practical issues.
Because
Women
Yeah.
need
I
to
believe
decide.
that men are always with training wheels. They always need the training wheels on. So we are constantly working with them, and
Yes.
once we work with them, then they will start working with us.
Yes,
yeah,
and
and
that's
just from
exactly the real meaning of cracking the code. Because if you talk about the gender equity or equality, it starts from the roots, which is us, which is what we set at home. If we take the mental load of not getting the dishwasher loaded or the laundry or the utensils or the cleanliness, whatever it is, then we won't be able to take the leadership roles out there. We won't be able to get ourselves in the self believing that we are talking about here.
Yeah, and I
I
just
just
want
want
to
I just
expand on that,
want
Pooja. So, the examples that you guys are giving are great. They are all home related, but let me give you an example of a professional example. So, and I'm a stats person. I like numbers. So, about more than 70% of the women, they actually don't apply for a job that they would really fit well, only because they don't meet all the criteria. If they don't meet 70 to 80%, even if they don't meet 100%, they don't apply. And on the other hand, the approach that men do is that they look at, even if they can fit the bill for 30%, they go ahead and apply the jobs. And that's why, Purnimadi, when you're saying that you're not finding the woman in your pile of resumes, it's only because, going back to the same perfectionist conversation, we want to be
I agree
perfect
with you.
and we
I
want to
Yeah.
grow
completely agree with
on that level.
you. Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
both.
we don't put ourselves. See, the thing is that I don't think women are big risk takers, and I don't think women know how to talk themselves up. And I completely agree with Abhilasha when they said when she said that men will see 30% and they see 90%.
Yes.
Like a woman sees 80% and see on paper, and she looks at herself and say, "Oh, I think I've only got 50%." So
Exactly.
don't we are like we don't know how to push ourselves up.
Yeah.
And you're very, very true, Abhilash, because the number of applications we get, some of them may be absolutely useless. They may not
Mm.
even be matching 20% of the criteria, but they've still put their hat in the ring. And you
Yes.
have to
Exactly.
put your hat in the ring. Like they say, you have to be in it to get it. And women
Yes.
really don't put themselves out there. Yeah. No, agreed. Completely agreed
I
with you.
this week only I interviewed four people for my team expansion, and there were two male persons in the team and three female ladies, and one more female is coming on Friday for the interview. And out of all the candidates, men two men that I interviewed couldn't answer my questions at all in the technical field. That's exactly what 10% or 20% we're talking about. While the women candidates that I interviewed in this section completely is like edge to edge. I have to make a very tough call between whom to hire, this one or this one. This one is good, this one is good. So I need to make a final decision, but by Friday, after the last the next candidate who's coming on Friday. But that's exactly what I'm facing in my work situations at the moment, and totally with you all on this one. But there's a question for you, Richa, because we are talking about perfectionism and gender equity and indispensable. So, Richa, there's a question for you. How would we get gender equity in a South Asian household? Um,
Um,
yeah,
that's I think exactly on the stuff, Puja, we are talking about. In our household, as we mentioned, few years back or 20, 25 years back, things were different where we had that male dominated society. After that, immigration happened. Lots of families came here, and we know when people are in nuclear family, they're just two wheels, right? So if one wheel is imbalanced, we can't work, right? And that's something, that's the discussion I generally have with my husband as well. If we both are having equal careers, that means both of us are making equal sacrifices.
yeah,
Your career can't go up and my can't go up without everyone's support. And if your career is going up and mine going down, that means there is a disparity there.
mm,
So in our household, that equity, that equivalence, that balance is definitely needed. And that's where we said, as Punima ji also mentioned, we need to train men on that one. We need to set the expectations in a right way. We need to appreciate them. We need to keep the task so equal in this society, in the fast changing world where we are in, that everyone is doing everything. So it's not a matter of be it a laundry, be it dishes, be it taking kids to different places, their classes, their schools, and everything. We need to balance each and everything and support each other in their professional career as well. Because
yeah,
lots of time those moments come when I have to go out, stay late for office work, for parties, for anything. So that's where that mindset needs to be changed, that if men can stay some hours late for work or for some networking purposes, women can do so as well, and that
yeah,
house can run with one person as well.
yeah.
So that setting up expectations right with your partner, I think, is really the key.
However, I believe there is another problem with, especially with the South Asian women, as the question has been raised for us. You being right on putting the expectations correct in front of your husband accepts it. But what happens in cracking the code ways when your in-laws comes into picture? When they expect that gender stereotype being like, you haven't done the dishes, it's my son, oh poor boy, he's doing that. How do you deal with, it is one time that you will be able to deal with that, you but if it is a constant nagging all the time, then how and what a women can do to crack this particular code and move ahead in the career. It's not a particular question for you, Richa, but I'm open for any answers anyways.
Okay, I'm happy to take that first, Pooja.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go
So
ahead.
when it comes to your husband's parents, if they are living with you, it's not your responsibility to talk to them. It's your husband's responsibility to talk to them. So I think that's where you have to draw the line. And if like, I don't think you should be engaging with any kind of conversations that would come down saying my son has to do this, or so it has to be a conversation. Again, going back to what we spoke before, it is a partnership. Husband and wife is a partnership, and we have to set our expectations of that partnership very clearly. Sorry, I just got a call, and I think I broke out. Yeah, so I think we have to set that expectations of that partnership. And like Richa said, if the husband is working and can stay back late, then the wife should also have to be, because she should be seen as a working woman, not just as a person, like, as a lady of the house, or whatever. Now, when we come to that, like I said, we do make compromises. I do know of families where the woman earns more than the man,
Yeah.
and even when they have a baby, they decide who has to take leave.
Mm.
So the man decides that I'm happy to take leave and sit at home, and for you to go. So it all starts from the two, the man and the woman, the husband and the wife. What kind of a partnership they build, what kind of an expectations they set. In-laws, father, mother, cousins, aunt, all of them, they're all outsiders. You are the core.
Yeah.
So if your core is strong, because then the husband can always tell his parents, mom, butt off. She's also working, she's come back tired, I'm happy to help her. Or since you're here, why don't you get up and help her? He should be having the conversation with his mother. It shouldn't be the wife who's going to be having a tussle with her mother-in-law. And I'm sure that if you're a strong woman, and if your husband appreciates what you do, there's not going to be a problem. You have had your in-laws
Yeah.
at your place, Pooja,
Yeah.
and you have worked through that really well, because you have a husband who stands by you and understands you. Like, you're an example of that, and I'm sure there are many others as well.
That's
It's only
absolutely
when.
right, Himadi. However, I will ask in between a question. Sorry for,
Yeah, 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 that's
but
fine.
my question is, because you are putting two ifs here. One if, because the women needs to be strong enough. That is what we are trying to achieve with this forum by creating a safe space. That's fine. But the second if is, men needs to be understanding as well. Husband needs to understand the wife's perspective. She's getting tired. But if one either of the if is not getting done, not fulfilled, then what happens in that circumstances? How do we move ahead in those strategies, those situations?
Can
There
I
is
just
no
add?
way you can move ahead until you have a conversation with each other.
Yeah.
you
I
know
think Pooja,
it
when both
all
of them,
zeroes back to those two people.
Mm.
Those two people have to work it out together. I think recently in one of the articles I even wrote this, that the quality of a woman's growth is directly proportional to the quality of her husband.
Mm.
That's so true, Purnimaji. And
you
that's
know
what, Pooja, I think I agree. That's the reason most of the women, or you can say 50% of women in our society can't progress. They
Mm.
are not at that position where they deserve to be, or where they are supposed to be. Because one is, it's easier said than done. Like, if we, as in our discussions, we are saying that if partner is supportive, but that's a very big if clause that is related, that is
Yeah.
connected to the progress, or
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
progress of women.
even if the partner is supportive, I feel there are many women out there who feel guilty if they are not at home or not doing things,
Mm.
and we need to get out of that mindset to be not feel guilty about putting our career first or whatever it is
Yeah, that
we
thing
want to
with the, I
focus.
think, still could be resolved with the women empowerment, with that networking, with that nurturing. When women come together and share their stories, share their ideas,
Yeah.
that thing still could be resolved by, uh, upskilling, kind of upskilling them that
No, I
this.
like I understand where Vidya is coming from, because I think, like my generation is very different to Richa's or
Right.
Abhilasha's or Bhavisha's.
Yeah.
You know, I'm quite older than all of you. So the way we've been raised, the kind of values that we have grown up with is very
True.
different to the kind of values or the way
Right.
you've been raised, because you belong to different
Yeah.
generation. So
Yeah.
for
Yes.
women who belong to my generation, I think we have to work doubly hard,
Hard.
not to
Yeah.
feel guilty about things and not to do things. So
Yeah.
I completely understand what Vidya is saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, like we have to come back to ourselves time and
Yeah.
time again, that we have to stop feeling guilty about things, and we have to stop saying that, I can do it all. I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
do it all. I can do this, I can
I
do
think
that. And I think before you pick a career, or before you pick a job or pick a partner, whatever, make a conscious decision. That first step that you take makes all the difference. Like
Yeah.
my generation, I think lots of arranged marriages. We did not have a choice. Our parents chose for us. We picked a partner, and it takes it about 5 to 10 years to get to a stage where your generation would probably start at the get go,
Yeah.
because we don't know the person that we are marrying, or we don't know the temperament of the person, because we haven't known that person for very long. So it takes some time to understand, first to build their rapport, then to get into a comfort zone, and then start telling that person what your expectations are.
Yeah.
So it depends on every generation, but yeah, I completely get what Vidya
Vidya
is
is
saying.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bhavish,
and I think there is
yeah.
not taking the attention away from this conversation. I think we also should remember that we are role models for the next generation, and
Yeah.
how we raise our children or what we display at our homes is going to be a big
Absolutely.
Yeah.
reflection on their. So I have a son and a daughter, and I make sure that all of us play a role in the kitchen, whether it's my 10-year-old daughter or my 14-year-old son or my husband or me. So we have equal responsibilities and we do that. So when I'm displaying that kind of an attitude at home, I'm teaching my son that when he goes in the future, he has a partner, he treats her equally, and he's not superior by any means. So I
Yeah.
think that's one of the very important reason why women, if you, today you are not doing what you're doing, what you should be doing, I think this is a good enough reason for you to step up and say, hey, we are partners. We've got to be responsible and we've got to take ownership equally, so that tomorrow our daughters can have a healthy family.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
a lot of women also give power to other people. When others tell you something good, you start feeling good. I think that mentality should also change. You need
Yeah.
to have your own self-assessment and know where you stand. And
Yeah.
once we can break those barriers and appreciate ourselves, probably networking and everything else, women empowerment and making upskilling yourself will become much smoother and easier. And once you are confident about yourself, probably putting yourself in front of your husband and sharing out and having that nice, strong conversation to bring both of you in one particular balanced way is also going to help resolve all the problems. He will understand what your perspective is, how much you're going to bring in the family, how much he's going to bring in the family, and how the family will flourish. So
Yeah.
it's
But
important that we appreciate ourselves rather
yeah.
than giving others the power to appreciate us.
Okay.
Can I
That's
just add one thing, Pooja, before you start? Sorry for just butting in there. And I think Abhilasha would agree with this, because she is a woman of numbers. I think having great role models, just like what Abhilasha said, is important, not just in a professional life, but also in a personal life. And we
Absolutely.
yes.
find that where you have role models in the professional arena, you have more women, growing and prospering in that area. So having strong role models, find a role model around you, within you, wherever, and then that makes the job so much easier.
Yes, I think that holds true for the women in decision making as well, because many times we hear and we see, and maybe we feel that as well, that women's voices are not being heard. They are not a part of the decision making processes. Their experience, perspectives are not taken into account. So, this particular way is a way to break the glass ceiling and attain positions of the leadership at home as well, and influence the fields, like influencing the children around us, putting the right role model, as we are saying, into the picture. But what skills and qualities are essential for this success? Just finding a role model will work, or what exactly are we looking as a skill set that we can attain this mindset as a women? Vidya, do you have anything on that you want?
Okay, skill set. So I think the important thing here is to focus on us on soft skills. I think communication is key when you want to put it out there, whether it is at your workplace, at your home, wherever, to make it very clear when you're communicating with your partner in terms of expectations, whether it is at work, what your expectations are of the role, what you bring to the table in terms of standing up, speaking up for yourself, communicating, putting it out there, and not take always taking a defensive kind of an approach to say that, oh my god, what is someone going to say if I say that. Having that confidence to speak up,
Yeah,
having the ability to recognize your worth, your self-worth, and talking to that.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
sure.
assertive communication and being confident is very important, not just
Yeah.
in a professional life, also in a personal life, because that
Yeah.
helps build up relationship. And relationship is the key. A rapport is a key that works everywhere.
And I think I agree, like how Vidya said, articulation and not taking things always defensive way.
Hmm.
Because it's something which I've noticed or realized in my career or in personal life as well. The more you try to be defensive or try to always calm down the things turn
Yeah,
out in a different way. So if you are confident enough, and again that confidence comes if you are upskilled, if you are educated enough, if you are good in what you do, then definitely you will be confident and will be having good communication. So again, I would say keeping up with the skill set, keeping up with the work that you are doing, upskill yourself, and then try to be not offensive rather, but so confident that you
Yeah.
don't take everything so defensively. That
yeah,
if what if I make people feel less or people feel less confident about what they do? What if they get
And
defensive? So yeah, I think
yeah,
defensive approach is really the key.
yeah,
yeah,
and the age that we are, like the times that we are in, and knowledge is absolute power. So that upskilling thing that Richa has been that talking about, everyone's been talking about, is extremely important. To have that knowledge in your field is the ultimate power that you bring to your job.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
On
But
that
then,
think
note, I would just add a little bit there, Pooja,
yeah,
because
go ahead.
this is something from the UN Women. They say that worldwide there are about 327 fewer women than men who have access to either smartphone or internet. So while we're talking about technology, while we're talking about upskilling, if women across the world don't have these basic things,
Yeah,
how it's really not possible for them to really get where they should be there, right? So that's, I think that's really a very important thing we have to remember. And the reason is not just that they're probably not financially sound, but there are also a lot of reasons why women do not access mobile phones. It is, they say that globally 24% of the women have reduced their internet usage because of, simply because of online abuse. They've just stopped using that. So
yeah,
we as a society have a bigger responsibility, just not in our home or workplace, but a wider range of responsibility there to ensure that women feel safer and are able to take up more challenges in a safe environment. And that is everybody's responsibility around.
yeah. That's a
I
better way.
think one last thing, like I would like to say, is that a woman has to learn to say no. If she has to grow, she has to say no.
Yeah,
Because what happens is we are, I think, the yes masters of the world. We like to go around pleasing people. And I think if we want to stand our ground, we have to learn to say no.
that's right. Being
Just on that note, Purnima ji, I
responsible.
was reading a small, I was going through a small, awareness video, and I think it was really being a mother of a girl child. It was really very overwhelming for me that we as parents don't teach our children consent. We do not teach our children the right way to
Yeah,
to use the consent
Agree.
as such. It can be in
Agree.
any way, but what is consent? Are you okay with it or not okay with it? How do you express it? It is a responsibility of a parent to teach a child, how to use consent from
Yeah,
from
yeah,
you know from the kindergarten days or play date days where there is a negotiation happening and stuff. So I think again I go back and say a family, a society is everyone's responsibility to make sure that we have educated boys and smart girls so that when tomorrow's generation is more wiser and more aware than what we are or what we were years ago.
yeah.
They
That's
do say the education
So,
begins at home.
exactly, absolutely, absolutely. Yep.
And to crack the code, we definitely need to take action to address all these challenges. And we need to create the safe space to promote all these gender equality and the things that we are talking about for just our personal levels, not even on the professional. We haven't gone or touched on the leadership skills yet in our conversation, but even on the personal levels, it is essential for everyone to just create more than an equitable world around us. However, what happens when the self doubt creeps in? When as a women we start doubting our own capabilities. I know Richa has strongly mentioned and put forward the concept of self belief, and we are working towards communication, upskillings, being a role model, and everything. But what exactly that happens in that moment of self doubt? Any takes on that one, Vidya?
So I have actually experienced this sometime, in my own career. All it took was 6 months and a bad boss, and imposter syndrome set in, and I was questioning everything, forgetting that I had 25 years of experience. I had, done a lot of things that had been appreciated. So in that situation, when you get into that imposter syndrome mode, the thing is to reinstate. I mean, your self belief. You need some sort of a help. Go seek that help. Don't stay in that state. I mean, whether it means talking to your peers, your family, or seeking professional help, like going to a psychologist, getting counseling. Don't shy away from doing that. Get help to address that until you are in a state where you get back your belief in yourself, and you get out of that self doubt.
Yeah. Okay.
Pooja,
Thank
I
you.
would like to add,
Yeah, yeah,
have a
sure.
tribe, have a tribe of your, true friends, loyal friends. Like our Inspirational Diva group is fabulous, where we have so many moms supporting each other. Connect with one another, connect with the one that would understand you, and I think seek their help. And Pooja, you also doing a relationship coaching. I think you also support lots of women who are suffering with many other issues.
Yeah.
So I think, like Vidya also mentioned, seek counseling, seek help. Don't
Yeah.
be shy, don't be quiet. So I think those are beautiful points to be points that our audience should make a note of.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
And
Um,
Pooja,
Abhilasha, yeah.
there's also, yeah, there is an amazing Google initiative called I Am Remarkable that's been on for many years now. I think by memory it's probably 15 years plus. I'm
Yeah.
actually one of the facilitators for that. The program is specifically designed for women so that they understand the power of appreciating themselves and self promoting. So I think, and it's free for everyone. Just go on LinkedIn or just go on their website and go register to attend one of the sessions. You will be surprised at the end of the session. You are going to come out more confident and also understand why you need to learn the art of self promoting. So I
Yes.
think that's
So
the
you said
really,
I'm remarkable program, right?
yes, it is a Google initiative. I am
Yeah.
remarkable. Yeah,
Okay, that's good. Let's share that link in the Inspirational Divas group as well. So we'll
we'll do
able to
that.
share with more people.
Abhilasha, is that only for women or also for men?
It is actually they started off Google started off for women, and then they soon realized that it's applicable for any underrepresented community. So it could be women and men of color and anyone who don't think that they represent the society the right way, or in terms of numbers, they are the minority there. So
Yeah.
it's for everyone.
Okay, cool. But Abhilasha, you have rightly mentioned on the accessibility of technology to the women, as with the numbers of the UN stats, as you were sharing earlier. If we have excess of technology like we have right now, we are talking virtually with each other from India, from across different areas. How can women leverage technology and innovations for our own empowerment, for careers? Google I'm Remarkable is one thing. Taking professional help is another thing that is also for our mental and professional both ways. But what else can you share some details over there if you have any?
I think when you have a safe environment, and I'm amazed, and I'm sure you guys have all looked at it. There are these amazing village cooking videos on YouTube. I'm sure you must have all seen it. And there are
Okay.
these dadima who's making theplas and everything, and that's like a very popular video and all that stuff. So I think, if you have the talent, and
Mm.
you're ready to upskill yourself, there is always, if technology is there to support you, to
Yeah.
take you to the next level. All you need is a right mentor or a person who can support you in taking it up to the next level. And I think we've come, at least most places, that we've come to a certain technology awareness, where men are able to support you, or people who are more educated or more aware are able to support you to get into that direction. So
Yeah.
just having the right people, like Bhavisha mentioned, having your tribe of people who can support you. And I'm a
Yeah.
strong believer that having the right mentor in your life is very important. Call them your role model, call them anything you want to, but just having that person you can look up to,
Yeah.
and that's very important. And in fact, in Australia, we run a lot of mentoring sessions for kids right from high school days, where especially the kids who are not from a very good demographic locations, where they are from a little low economical background location. A lot of organizations do these mentoring sessions, so they install the confidence in the children, so they're able to say, okay, tomorrow I can be that person sitting on the other side and being a mentor to someone. So I think that's really important, very powerful,
Yeah.
and all of us in the room should become mentors to at least to one person and leverage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
and just on
Beautifully
that
said.
one, Abhilasha, you raised a very good point because that's what I have noticed. Like my friends in the same area or sector, they have benefited a lot with a lot of meetups groups that have. So in Sydney also, for each and every area or sector you are working in, there are a lot of meetups which happen
Yeah.
across the city in different areas as well, which you should join. And that's a good opportunity, not just joining the groups or meetups where women take part, but go diverse. We have to learn. If we think, if anywhere we have that inferior complex that men are better, they are doing something better, let's go to those meetups and see
So,
what they
Yeah.
are good at and what are the things we need to get better at. And
Yeah.
with COVID and all these things, we note how fast technology is changing. A lot of online sessions, even at international level as well. People from US, people from France, they are scheduling good sessions that women should be taking part in. And that
absolutely.
That's
mentor-mentee relationship is really, really good. I think a lot of organizations are promoting that as well. So
yeah.
even within your organization, if you choose a mentor for yourself and have that regular conversations with them, on your progress, how you can learn from them, I think that relationship works really well in taking you to the level you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I completely agree, Richa. It's a very good point to find a mentor at your workplace and just take the best help that you can get.
Mm.
That's right.
I think one more thing that's important is that every woman has to take that leap of faith. She needs to have that confidence and just take that leap of faith, and don't be scared of failures. It's okay to
Mm.
fail.
It's
I
okay
think
to
that
fail.
is where we all falter. We want to
Yeah.
be this perfect human being that everyone just thinks that, we can't make any mistakes. And that is our biggest undoing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fear
True,
of judgment should
Purnima.
go away. You
Yeah,
should
that
not
leap of
worry
faith
about
is
being
really
judged.
the key.
Yeah.
Correct.
But
That leap of faith is
we,
really good
yeah,
It
we
is
because
speak
I've
hard.
all
learned
about,
that. Yeah. Go on, please.
Let's
All
do
right.
one by one. Let
Yeah.
Purnima finish,
So
then Richa, and then Bhavisha.
yeah, so like what I said is that fear of judgment and all of that, we bring it upon ourselves because we're very, very, keen to know what other people think about us. We should, I think, only be worried about what we think about ourselves and probably what our close family thinks about ourselves. Because every time we put ourselves out there, we wear clothes. So, like, what do we do? We're always looking around, waiting for people to give us compliments. And if one part, someone doesn't tell you something, you think, oh, probably I didn't dress up as. We are so hard on ourselves. Have you ever seen a man who even cares if he gets a compliment or not? If his shirt button is undone and someone tells him to button up his shirt, he'll say, "Oh, thank you," and he'll do that. But if someone
No.
tells you one lock is out of place, he'll say, "Oh my God, let me go to the ladies' room," and like we do, we are so
Yeah.
different, and I think we just need to stop getting stressed about things that don't need stressing about. Yeah, I think I've
Yeah.
No,
had
but
my say.
That's
No, I
right.
think I agree. That's what I was saying, Purnimaji, that, there was a moment in my career where I had to apply for a leadership role, and I was like, no, it can't happen. I have a young family of two kids. No way I can, manage that. And then I had that women empowerment, my women mentor, who said, no way you are living it. You can go even two level higher, and you are saying you can't apply for this role. Just go for it. Even if you fail, you can always come back to your lower role. And
Yeah.
that's the advice I can never forget, that luckily I applied for that role. And then after that, of course, God, by God's grace, there is no stopping. So I really admire that women
Yeah.
mentor.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of
Bhavisha, you were
stories,
saying
but we'll
something?
share it another day.
Yeah.
No, I think just one point that I want to mention is sometimes yes, we should not. I mean, we should not worry about being judged. But if you are judged by someone in a wrong way constantly, then somewhere it will affect women's mentality or women's mindset. It is normal. The reason I'm saying is in nature, if you have a basket full of apples, you have all the good apples, but that one apple which is bad and it's still sitting in that basket for few more days, it's going to spoil all other apples. In nature, we haven't seen that the good apples have changed the bad apples. We have always seen the bad apple change the good apples. So
Yeah.
those,
Can I just add one thing, Bhavish, on that? Your main important point I took away from that is that you left the bad apple sitting there for a long period of time. If
Yes.
you find a bad apple, pick it up and throw it out because it's not
Right
going to
now.
affect the good apple.
yes, yes,
So, which
I
means we
agree.
have
I agree.
to choose our circle, the people that we circle ourselves in,
Mm.
we have to choose that wisely. And I agree with you that apple thing, but again, we have to
I
make
think
sure that we throw the bad apple out.
we can choose pick and choose our friends, but there are certain scenarios where you may not be able to choose. So I think a lot of things, if you're not able to choose, you just have to change the course. You just have to move out and find different. So things are, yeah. I think
Yeah. There are different conversations going in the comments as well, based on our perfect and imperfect and indispensable and all these gender stereotype questions, and one way or the other way we are answering all of them. So I'm not going ahead with that one, but that's a very good pointer or an open challenge for all of us, because we believe that we need to fulfill both the if conditions, like if women are strong and if men are supportive, then we can break the glass ceiling and break the barriers and go ahead and go on the leaderships, in the career, in the professional history, as professional careers everywhere as well. However, it's we as a women need to empower our own self beliefs and put the right foot ahead in terms of upskilling, and don't take the burden of training the men, as one of the comments in the Facebook says, that the one of the divas mentioned, like, do we want to burden ourselves by training men so to accept that? So I think it's not about training men, but to put a certain agreement in the family together, so we can confidently move ahead for what we want as ourselves and what we want to present to our children as a role model, and how we want to go ahead in the leadership skills as a career as well. So to have win-win situations, we definitely need to have a word, an agreement, a communication, upskilling, repo. But at the same time, don't be judgmental on our own self. That's the important last point I think that we were making out. We need to break our own barrier. That is it. As a mindset, we feel we stop, we take advantage of, not to, okay, I don't want to go ahead because of that. So that bad apple definitely needs to be taken out, be it our own mindset or our family's discussions, or maybe a word of training me or training men around us. We need to take that move strongly out there. However, I have a very big question on the back of it. What would happen if we women reach to our full potentials? If we are really empowered enough, break through our barriers, code have been cracked, and achieve our full potential, do you see, is there any problem with that? If yes, what it is? If no, what do you think about it? Let's start with you, Abhilasha.
I chuckled a little bit in my brain when you said full potential, because honestly, there is nothing called the full potential, right? Because I think when you reach the full potential, that would be like you probably have attained enlightenment and you probably are a saint somewhere. So what I'm trying to say here is that every day we become a better version of ourselves. so
Yeah,
so yeah, but there is a underlining point there. I think when confidence is good, overconfidence might not be the right thing, right? So there, and everybody has been talking that men and women are supposed to be equal, or we are two wheels of of a vehicle and whatever. So I think when if we are probably very passionate or over passionate about our achievements or our journey, and forget that we've got a family, or we've got to live a balanced life, there might be opportunities when one of the wheels is going ahead and the other stays back, and that means we're not doing the right thing. So I guess my only thought is here is that confidence is good, but make sure that you are treating everybody with respect, and make sure that you remember that you are part of this society and community, and you got that responsibility on yourself to give back to the community.
that's right. Yeah, that's a valid point, and thank you so much, because I've been asked this question when I promoted this event on my Instagram pages as well. So I got this as a DM and says, "What would you do with this? How? What would happen to the women when they will reach their all potential?" So I was like, "Good question. Let me ask the ladies
I
over
think,
there. Then we'll get the right
Pooja,
answer."
that also
But
depends.
Yeah, go ahead, Bhavisha.
Sorry, Pooja, that also depends on person to person.
Yeah,
Person to person, person's maturity, understanding their journey, their hardships, and what they have experienced in their lives. Like I've seen women who have reached to their full potential, and I've seen them in different. How would I put it in a beautiful way? I've seen amazing strengths, and I've seen the humbleness in their heart and warmth to help and support another woman and bring her up, pull her up. Yeah, so I've seen such great women also.
yeah. But still,
I
I'm
would say here,
100%.
yeah, I would say here, Pooja, I think let's work together to bring women to that potential. And I believe once we reach that potential, we'll become even more confident in our family lives, in our society lives as well. So
Yeah,
let's worry to a stage where every woman is feeling that, yes, I've got the potential, what I deserve.
yeah.
And then, of course, women are such superpowers that I'm sure they'll manage the other parts of societies and families very well as well.
Yeah, that's right. I think we have covered quite a few of good questions, because I really didn't. I wanted to discuss leadership, STEM, cracking the code in professional career term, but honestly, when I thought about it, I was like, what a normal woman sitting in that, maybe a housewife or maybe a lady who is sitting inside the house will be thinking about cracking the code. What is that meaning to her? So probably that was a really good conversation to work and to discuss about where we are in our personal lives and how we can crack the code for a better women and better place of women in the society going ahead. So we can talk a lot about going this in the coming sessions as well, because we have planned one more panel discussion on popular demand. I got a couple of people's requests that they want to be the panelist as well. So I thought, why not? Let's give an opportunity and let's utilize the space for one more round of panel discussion, which is going to happen next week as well. So I would like you all to join that as well. And before we finish up the session this time, I want each one of you, as in rapid fire, to give me one benefit of cracking the code this International Women's Day. So let's start with you, Polimadi. One benefit, short and sweet.
One benefit of cracking the code.
Yeah,
I can't think of one benefit of cracking the code, honestly. But since been given this space to say something, the only thing I would say is that men and women are wired very differently.
yeah,
We don't think the same way. And as a teacher, I know that boys and girls learn differently. Our
yeah,
brains are wired very differently. So don't have expectations of from your husbands and expect them to understand and do things. So
yeah,
my one go of cracking the code would be that tell the man in your life what you want him to do, and then he'll do it for you.
yeah. Okay, good. Thank you, Vidya.
I would actually take this to a very extreme situation and say I would like to see actually a role reversal. I mean, we talk about women being homemakers, and why can't there be the opposite where we are talking about women reaching their full potential professionally, personally, everywhere? So, I mean, cracking the code would be uh, to me, seeing a role reversal where women take the lead and, running their families and men supporting them, sitting at home.
Okay,
And I know of someone who's actually doing that.
yeah,
So, yeah, it was quite new to me, but yeah.
okay, good. Bhavisha.
So, we've discussed quite a lot, Pooja, but to sum it up, I would say cracking the code would be assertive in your communication, be brave, upskill yourself, know your worth, and find a way out. Get the right woman tribe that can support you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Abhilasha.
Um, just a small reference to the World Economic Forum that it's going to take us 135 years to get to attain gender equality. So for me, cracking the code would mean one step closer to attaining that.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Richa.
You're on mute, Richa.
Sorry. As I started, I would sum it up by saying have self belief, be confident, and let's empower women around us, give them wings to fly. I just want to see, every woman around me to have that smile on their face and be confident, yes, they have achieved something. And if I'm able to contribute in some shape or form, would be obliged. That's all.
Thank you so much, Richa. To me, cracking the code is not easy job, but definitely we need to take action to address the challenges. And I totally understand and accept the fact that men and women both are wired differently. They both have their own set of programming levels that we as a coach. I also work with them all the time to see that masculine and feminine feminism differences as well. However, we still need to create plans, have firm beliefs, self beliefs, and the programs to have the gender equality at our homes, at our personal lives, and also at the wider levels in the professional careers as well. So this was a little bit of my take on that one, but definitely, and I agree with all of you to some or to major extent, and I truly accept and acknowledge the contribution by you strong women out there in the community, as you all are doing so much good in your own in your own ways and giving back to the community and working on yourself as well, taking care of your families, putting the norms at your family, and having the right conversation at the right time. So that itself is a big message to all the divas who are looking and participating us in the journey. We get a really good feedback for each one of you, a bit of questions, which I try to ask, or you by yourself have answered in a way. So but if anything you see the questions is not answered, then please feel free to put your perspective ahead on the respective questions. And definitely, it was a really good, fruitful sessions with all of you. And thank you very much for joining. With that intention and message in mind that it is not a one-day job, let's work together to crack the code together throughout the next coming time together.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you, Pooja.
you.
We'll
Thank you for
speak
having us, Pooja.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Bye.
next week. See you
Thank
again.
you, and bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.